Hello everyone. So today I will represent to you the gender roles in ancient Rome as reflected in the art. So gender roles in ancient Rome were deeply ingrained in societal norms and were reflected in various forms of art produced during that time. Today, we're going into some key aspects of gender roles in ancient Rome as reflected in art. So today's content include the portrayal of women, the idealized beauty standard, the representation of men, the emphasis on masculinity, and the erotic and eroticized imagery. So, first of all, the portrayal of women. Roman women were somewhat better off than their houseborn Greek counterparts. They could leave the house with chaperons, were allowed to socialize with their husband's house guests. Greek women were not, and they could attend public events like dramas and gladiator competitions, although they usually had to sit in seats reserved for women. So we can see in this picture is the women in the social events. The painting by Roberto Bompiani captures a common 19th century association of Roman dining and excess. And women in Roman art were often depicted in domestic settings, engaged in activities such as weaving, cooking, or tending to children. These depictions emphasized the traditional roles of the women as homemakers and mothers, reinforcing the societal expectation that women's primary roles were within the household. So the next part is the idealized beauty standards. The female figures in Roman art were typically portrayed with idealized beauty standards, featuring smooth skin, symmetrical features, and graceful proportions. The ideal of beauty for women was small, thin but robust constitution, narrow shoulders, pronounced hips, wide thighs, and small breasts. The canon for the face was large almond-shaped eyes, sharp nose, medium-sized mouth and ears, oval cheeks and chin. These depictions served to emphasize the importance of physical attractiveness for women in Roman society and reinforced the societal expectation for women to adhere to these standards. So we can see the canon for the women's beauty standard was depicted in the sculpture of the Roman women. And the next part is the representation of men. So in contrast to the image of women in Roman art, men in Roman art were often depicted in roles of authority and power, such as military leaders, politicians, or gods. These representations reinforced the societal expectation of men as the primary figures in public and political life, responsible for maintaining order and defending the state. So we can see the sculpture here of Augustus of Prima Porta. So the sculpture is depicted with the authority and the power of the emperor of the Roman. So the next one is the emphasis of masculinity. Some male figures in Roman art were often portrayed with muscular physiques and confident expressions, reflecting the idealized image of masculinity in Roman society. These depictions emphasized traits such as strength, courage, and leadership, reinforcing the societal expectation for men to embody these qualities. As we could see in the sculpture over here, which belongs to Minnesota Institute of Art in public domain. And the last one, the erotic and eroticized imagery. Roman art also frequently depicted erotic and sexually charged scenes, often featuring female figures in passive or submissive roles. These depictions serve to reinforce gender stereotypes and traditional power dynamics, with men as the active initiators of sexual encounters and women as the passive objects of desire. As we can see in this sculpture, which belong to archaeological part of Pompeii. So overall, the art of ancient Rome provides valuable insights into the prevailing gender roles and societal expectations of the time. It reflects the hierarchical nature of Roman society, with men occupying positions of power and authority in the public spheres, while women were primarily confined to the domestic sphere and expected to adhere to traditional roles of wife, mother, and caregiver. And that's all for my representation of gender roles in Roman art. Thank you for listening.